welcome back to Life and Hair. Now, do you remember a little while ago I told you that when I was a little girl, I used to put tights on my head and have both the legs draping over my shoulders to pretend that I had long hair. There was a young lady also who lived in the village with me who actually had the much coveted long straight blonde hair that was so prized when I was a kid in the late 70s. I used to sit on her lap and get hold of her hair at the back and drape it over my shoulders and just look at it and stroke it and pretend that it was mine and that I had this beautiful thing. I can't understand really what it is about blonde hair that is so tantalizing, so sought after, particularly if you don't have it. You know, if you're a lifelong brunette with curly hair or whatever, the big thing is, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to try blonde hair? And that's the beauty of buying styles. You're able to branch out at your own pace, in your own time, when you're ready to tentatively start making those steps. Now you'll recall I bought Rosella in a long rooted style with quite blonde tips. I also bought Ray in a long rooted, it was melted marshmallow with white blonde tips. So I decided this time to take one more step forward and actually buy a blonde, but a shaded blonde. So I purchased Soft and Subtle by Gabor in the colour Honey Pecan Rooted. I kind of lost my mind about this a little bit when I first got it out of the box. I really didn't know what to expect. Some videos showed it as really very blonde. Other videos showed it as quite an acceptable kind of medium brown with some blonde highlights. So when I got it out of the box, I was like, okay, so this is basically a blonde. It's a little bit of both. And if, after listening to Heather from Sister Wigs breaking down the colour coding, which is an amazing service that she does, this base colour is an 11, which is essentially a sandy brown. And the highlights are a 25, which is a medium golden blonde with more ashy blonde accents to it. So the sandy brown and the medium blonde make for a darkish blonde or very light brown overall effect. What makes this a little bit more dynamic with a nod to a little bit more of a brighter colour, a blonder colour, are those ashy highlights that suddenly, you know, pick up that colour. The root is one shade darker than this brown, and Gabor call it a soft shade, which means that it's not so much of a contrast between the brown in the hair and the root. It's very natural looking, very acceptable to the eye. It's got a nice cohesive overall quality to the colours that are involved. You know, there are quite a few colours. This is a dynamic colour overall. You can see that here. So the waves that are here, the waves in this style respond and are complemented very well with the way the colours are done. I was extremely excited. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please do go along and request to follow me. It is a private account, but I will accept you. I did put up a couple of reels of me losing my mind a little bit about this style. I've waited a very long time to be a blonde. And so when the moment finally came, I really made the most of it. Before I pop it on, I just want to show you the cap. It doesn't have a whole monofilament cap. It's got a monofilament part, and I've put some scar tape there. And then we have an open cap all the way around with an extended nape, ear tabs as usual with some metal stays in there. Also, it comes with a very lovely lace front. It's really very good. Now this is why I think the blondes are so popular in the helper hair community, or all of those who love to wear wigs. When you've got those blonde fibres, the knots are truly invisible. A lot of manufacturers and sellers make it so that the very lighter strands are on the lace front, so that the lace front completely melts away, and all that you're left with is what appears to be lovely, vibrant, delectable blonde hairs growing straight out of your scalp. Let's put her on. I've got a little bit of water here in the spray bottle, and I'm just going to add that to the fibres. If I spray it over my whole head, I'm going to be drenched. I tried that earlier and it wasn't a good idea. But it just revives that beach wave, and whatever curl has been put in here, whatever wave that gives this style a lot of texture, is revived somewhat. I'm really loving watching the reviews. What's that amazing lady called? Let's see if I can find her. This is Michelle Pearl. I'm sure you've actually seen her videos. She has got such a sassy personality. I love the way, again, to use that word, she is unapologetic about how she was made, who she is, how she was born, what her likes and dislikes are, and really puts it out there. And I find watching her so affirming and uplifting and interesting. It's so wonderful to come across women who are just being themselves, albeit a little bit on the unusual or alternative side, and also not too young. I mean, it's nice to see someone who is in their middle years actually doing this. Now check out this lace. You can see how the blondes are around the face, the lighter blonde up here. Yes, I can feel permatease, but this is actually quite a low density style, so there has to be some permatease, it being an open cap, to hide the wefts. But it's quite nice to poof it up a little bit, scrunch it up a little bit, and really embrace the movement and the glamour of this look. When Steve came in, I actually wore it while I was making dinner, and he hadn't seen it before, and he described me as a glamour puss. I mean, I'll take it, no problem. So it's a bob. It's a blunt cut. It is deconstructed. It has shattered layers, which make for body and give it volume and interest, and make this a very modern style. The reason why I went for soft and subtle is specifically this curl pattern here at the face. I saw a lot of reviews where the ladies had the most delightful swoop that hugged their face, went over one eye, and then kind of casually but oh so glamorously concluded in these delightful waves. I find this look very alluring and very sexy. Okay, I've said it. I find it very sexy. I love the side parting with this monofilament. It's not a bad one at all. With the scar tape, you can see little peaks of scalp. And I really love that. Now, as a brunette, I also find the root keeps me grounded with my olive complexion, and I think that that looks quite realistic. Although I watch other reviewers who have got even a darker complexion than mine, who go for the very ashy blondes right from the root. Now, one day I plan to do that when I find the right colour and the right style. Believe me, I'll be there. But I think this step going forward has been pretty good. It's quite nice to be able to put an Alice band in. You've still got that movement around your face. It's lovely. This is a bit of a face flopper, like most of them are. I think that the water helps those waves to remain cohesive. So if the front piece was coming into your face a little bit too much and you were finding it a bit annoying, you certainly could put in a lovely clip there. And because the lace front is so natural looking, I guarantee that you can go anywhere and stand as close to anybody and they'll never suspect that you're wearing fake hair. But even if they did, as you know, I'm at the stage now of declaring to everybody who'll listen, I don't care. I'm very, very proud to be able to switch up my style whenever I want. I want to address a couple of comments that I received recently, specifically from a lovely subscriber called Amy T. She gave me the lovely compliment of saying that she felt that my delivery in my videos made her feel like we already knew each other, like we were friends, and that I was sitting in her house chatting to her. Also, Autumn Angel said that I had a very intimate style. And isn't that really what every person putting content out there wants to hear? I mean, why am I doing this? I'm doing this really for the sheer joy of finding something that works and that improves my life and beautifies my look, and wanting to reach out to other women of any age who are open to considering the idea for themselves. It's a very good problem solver if you've got problem hair, if you have hair loss of any kind, or just difficult hair, or simply want to add, you've got good hair but you want to add glamour to your look and variety to your look, and you want to be playful and make the most of these middle years that we have. Also, Rebecca Ann left another comment thanking me for taking you guys along when I've been going out and about, talking to people on social occasions, going out, you know, eating out, or just walking out and about with my daughter or my husband. I wish that you actually were there in real life and taking you out, taking my camera out. Although it's just not as good as the real thing, it'll have to do. But whenever I take you out with me, whenever I make a video, I'm very anxious to hear how you've enjoyed it. And may I say that if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please would you just click the subscribe button, because I'd really like to grow this community. We're helping each other, we're supporting each other. You're helping me as much as you say I'm helping you. I really value the advice and the guidance and the amazing stories that you tell me. For example, I think it was Amy T who told me that the agonizing story that she was in a restaurant with her husband, and she said that they had their regular waitress, but there was a waitress who hadn't been serving them, who came over specifically to tell Amy that she really loved her hairstyle or her colour or whatever it was that she said in the comment, and, you know, was asking her about it and complimenting her on it. And it really put Amy on the spot because she didn't really know how to respond to it. I mean, I put myself in her shoes and I thought, wow, you know, that would really be a very intense experience. And her husband was sort of trying to get her to calm down about it. But, you know, she was as cool as a cucumber, and she just said, thank you, and left it at that. Of course, nobody knows whether that waitress suspected that it wasn't Amy's natural hair. But I'd find it quite difficult to think that somebody came over all the way from the other side of the room because they were so curious and captured by an unusual presentation of somebody's hair in a positive way. Surely she would have said, is that a wig, or is that actually your hair? But she never did. So Amy, it was a win-win, complete win-win. And I really hope that that actually helped you to gain in confidence rather than rattle your confidence. I think you handled it amazingly, and what an incredible compliment to get. So I promised those ladies that we were going to have tea this afternoon. I'm not going anywhere, I'm not going out and about, but I am going to make a nice pot of tea, come back here. I'm going to talk about really some aspects of my hair loss story, which I haven't thought about for a long time, but I have remembered them recently as I was musing about some aspects of the videos, etc. Really brought them back to mind, and I'd really like to share them with you. I have quite strange tastes when it comes to tea. I mix a normal black tea bag with an Earl Grey tea bag in a pot because I really enjoy the flavour of the mixing. I think that might be an American thing, you know. Don't you just love the sound of tea pouring? When you really fancy a cup of tea, it's the most delightful thing ever. One of my favourite things to do is to go out for afternoon tea. And they really do it well in this country, don't they? Getting all the paraphernalia, the loose tea leaves, the teapot, the milk in a little milk jug. Very, very quaint. Delicious. You know, it's amazing how I hadn't thought about my hair loss experience so much ever since starting to wear hair. It used to be something that was very much on my mind all the time because I was confronted by it all the time. I actually started to notice that my hair was falling out or thinning, I would say from about 17 upwards. Now, it's an interesting thing because I wasn't born in the UK, I was born in Lebanon, and my mother sent me to the UK to live with my aunt, who I didn't have a very good relationship with, and I was very lonely and missed my mother very, very much and found it emotionally very difficult to deal with. At around that time, I started to twirl my hair a lot. I found it quite comforting, very therapeutic. And as those years ticked on from 14 to 17, it turned from just twirling my hair and running my fingers through my hair, making it smooth and then twirling it. It progressed from that to picking my scalp. The International OCD Foundation terms this behaviour as a psychiatric condition, and the name that they've given it is Dermatillomania, and it is the pleasure and the comfort that's derived from picking at your skin. And I'm really sorry if this is going a little bit too graphic. and not quite as glamorous as what you were hoping for. But you know what? Underneath the beauty of the hair and the makeup and the nice clothes is is a psychiatric condition, I'm afraid. What can I tell you? That's the truth of it. Now, interestingly, the picking and the twirling behaviours I actually picked up from a family member. It was my aunt's daughter, who was my cousin, and she was older than me. So in the UK, it was my aunt and her husband, her daughter and her husband, and myself. I was a deeply unhappy and troubled child and teenager. But I observed my cousin actually demonstrating this behaviour, and I started to copy. But then it became an obsessive compulsive habit that has stayed with me forever. And what's really alarming is that I've observed my own daughter doing it, because she has learnt it from me. I have 2 daughters, but only one of them does it. Now, amazingly, of all the women in the family, and we don't really have many men. I used to always joke that we used to eat them for breakfast. But in the women in my family, the women that stayed in the Middle East, my mother, another aunt, they never had any problems with their hair. It was thick, lustrous, they had really good hair even in the latter days of their life. They were able to enjoy the sun and the water and the environment and the food that really complemented the way their body was built. But all of the women who actually moved away and moved to these colder climates suffered these psychological conditions and these obsessive behaviours. And as I grew up, my aunt started to notice what my behaviour was. Of course, she recognised it in herself, but she never actually admitted to doing it. So that there was a lot of shame around this behaviour. It's a very, very strange thing. You know, you want to compulsively do something that you know isn't normal, that you know most other people don't do, but you kind of do it in secret. You really wouldn't want anybody to catch you doing it. But whenever she used to catch me touching and twirling my hair like this, she used to snap out at me, "Leave your hair alone." And it kind of just reinforced the trauma of the entire thing. It was never really addressed on any therapeutic basis. I never went to see anybody about it. It was just kind of a shameful, guilty little secret that some of the women in my family were possessed by. If you fast forward through all of the years of worrying about my scalp showing and my hair getting thinner and thinner, and also it was very unfortunate in that it became thin in areas that I couldn't disguise it, particularly at the front of my hairline. I hope you're still enjoying your tea, ladies. I certainly am. It's really nice to wet my whistle with it. And I finally started turning to wearing hair, be it full wigs or even toppers. I found that because I was wearing this cap that enclosed my scalp, I didn't have an opportunity to pick anymore. And I don't even twirl the hair of my wigs or my toppers. Yes, of course, I run my fingers through it, I scrunch it up. You know, I make sure that it's all right. I get it out of my face, but there's no picking and there's no scratching. And another thing that really has helped me is these stick-on nails. Now, you will have noticed that the majority of the time in my videos, I'm wearing some kind of nail polish. Sometimes I've got very long nails. These are slightly shorter and more square. They've all been stick-on nails. I don't have my nails done anywhere. Literally, you pick these up in the pound shop, you stick them on, they last for a week. But there's not been any picking. Even when I've taken my wig cap off at night, I can't really get the same sense of achievement and satisfaction and really deep fulfillment that the Dermatillomania has afforded me for so long. And I've noticed that my scalp isn't quite so sore because it's getting a chance to heal. Yeah, so that's been a very good sort of two-pronged approach to reducing the dermatillomania and those obsessive compulsive habitual behaviours that I was so out of control with. I know that a lot of other women suffer with this, and isn't it marvellous? Isn't it amazingly refreshing to be able to discuss it? Guys, we're not freaks, we're not weirdos, not in a bad way anyway. Isn't it wonderful to get all this stuff out to the open? To put this name that's been given, this psychiatric condition, to put the name to the behaviour and know that so many other women suffer with it? Now, different women do different things. I don't know about the men, obviously it affects both the sexes. I'm speaking from a female point of view. Some of them pull the hair out. I used to have a neighbour when I was a little kid who used to pull her hair out, wrap it around her fingers, pull it out and suck her thumb. And then I used to watch her sometimes, and she used to rub the hairs over her nose while she did it. You know, human psychology is a very complex and peculiar thing. We instinctively find ways to cope with negative emotions, trauma, anxiety, even when we don't feel the anxiety. Subconsciously, that anxiety could be building, and this kind of behavior is a perfect release valve for those emotions. So here I am at 52, getting some real insight into how my life has been regarding my hair. I never could have believed that the simple act of choosing hair, putting it on a regular basis can bring so much variety, joy and healing to my life. You know, in my mind, you are sitting here with me. We're sharing together, women at home chatting. That is real wealth. That is true wealth. And the fact that I have to do it through YouTube is just the hurdle that I have to overcome. But I really hope you've enjoyed your tea with me today, ladies. There is another thing that I want to mention that has been capturing my imagination recently. Let me go and get it and tell me what you think. Now, I don't know whether you've noticed, but over the last couple of decades, comfort has become a real buzzword in attire. In fact, I, being a seamstress, am very interested in historical clothing and historical costumes. And it's fascinating to see how from the 1900s onwards it has become less and less and less constrained for the human body and more into comfort and the casual look. But where does that leave this kind of thing? The stiletto shoe. It is a real classic that just does not want to go away, and there is a reason for that. Now, today I have got this dress on, and incidentally, this dress is the only thing I kept from the last Lucchiero box. I was quite disappointed with it, but this dress actually made the grade, and I'm wearing it with my flip-flops, and that's great. I'm at home. But there is a real attraction that's growing in me to proper shoes, proper footwear, something enclosed, something impractical. I mean, okay, I'm not going to wear these walking down to the river or, you know, hiking around the park or something. But I actually really love them. The thing I love about this outfit is the simple lines that complement each other. Now this dress has got a V at the front and at the back, and these ruffles here accentuate that shape. Now I find that it's beautifully echoed in these shoes. They're amazingly comfortable. And yes, you know, having lost a bit of weight, I'm lighter on my feet. I'd probably go out in the evening wearing them, and I think that we are due to go out and see some friends soon, and I think this outfit with this hair would be a really nice thing to wear. No more comfortable shoes when it's time to put on glamorous shoes. I have so enjoyed our little chat, and actually I've pretty much finished my cup of tea. Even though the weather in the UK has been absolutely abysmal, and you should see it, it's blowing a gale out there in August. We can bring sunshine into our lives whenever we want. Cheers!